Hello everyone and welcome to today's session on remote data access, which if you have been with us for some time, it was also formerly known as Sage Drive. Today we're going to learn about remote data access, how it works, how to set it up. So we're not going to be doing any troubleshooting today, we're just going to be focusing on the introduction of the feature. My name is Abby and I will be your host for this afternoon. We do also have Michael and Jackie on hand for your questions throughout the session, as I'm sure there will be plenty, so do please bear with us. Before we start the session, I just want to cover some housekeeping. So what you will see is that you'll be placed on mute when you join. If you do have a headset or a microphone connected, it will be automatically muted. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel down the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. This will then open up that panel where you can send your questions across, where either me or Michael or Jackie will be able to answer these questions for you. We do also have a handout for today. You can download this by clicking on the button that looks like a little document with a folded corner. I would recommend downloading this as it does have some helpful links to our help centre. Okay, so this is on the agenda for today. So again, we're going to be covering what is remote data access, what are the remote data access requirements and things to consider before setting it up. I'm also going to go through a few scenarios with you guys as well, and just to explain and really show you how it works, depending on your scenario, to make it a little bit more easier to understand the process. I'm then going to go through setting up remote data access. Now these are video demonstrations. They're not too long, less than 5 minutes each. So I've got a couple of video demonstrations to show you. I'm also going to go through some frequently asked questions. So we've done this session a couple of years ago. So I've just pulled some questions from that session as well to be able to, maybe pull out those ones you might already have. And then lastly, I will summarize the session at the end. Before I go into the session, I just want to launch a quick poll. So you should see that on your screen. And I just want to know if you're currently using remote data access. So you've got your options on the screen there. So if you are using it, you've got the option for yes, no, you choose not to use it, or might be no, I don't actually know what it is. So let us know if you are currently using it. It's fine if you're not. That's what we're here for today. We usually wait until we get around 70–75% in answers there. So I can see them coming in quite quickly. So we'll just give it a little bit longer to get those answers in. And what I'll do is I'll also share that result with you as well, so you can also see those results. So we've got about 80% there, so I'm just going to close that down and I'll just share that with you as well. So as you can see, we've got 25% of you are currently using remote data access, which is great. So today, again, we might just clear up the little bit of confusion if you're not entirely sure how to use it. 21% of you are choosing not to use it, so hopefully we can change your mind towards the end of the session. And 54% of you don't actually know what it is. So great, that's absolutely fine because that's what we're here for today. So I'll just hide that poll. And before we really delve in, I just want to cover a little bit to do with like the Sage account and the connected services that are available to you. So to use any of these additional apps and add-ons for your software, it requires a Sage account. And it needs it to be linked to the company. So you might have the option to use Satago, invoice finance, invoice payments, bank feeds. Some of you may have attended our bank feed session already. Remote data access. And lastly as well, it gives you access to My Sage, which is where you access your invoices from us for your Sage products. Today we're going to focus on remote data access, but if you do wish to find out more about the apps and add-ons available to you, on the navigation bar down the left-hand side of your software, second one from the top, you should see apps and add-ons. So you can click on in there, but you can also find more information on our help centre as well. There is also lots of confusion between your Sage account and your user logon name and when to use them. So you do use both your Sage account and your logon name when you use remote data access. So the Sage account window is going to look like this one on the left. It's going to ask for an email and password combination. You would be asked for this either when you're logging into My Sage for your Sage invoices, or when you're using additional apps and add-ons, you may be asked to authenticate when setting it up, or to re-authenticate for that as well. Whereas the logon window, which is the example on the right, this is what you'll see when you access your company in the Sage 50 Accounts software. So you might log on as manager, or you might have been assigned your own user logon name and password. So the left is only when you need to log in to see invoices from us or to authenticate an app or add-on. The one on the right is what you're going to see every time you log into the Sage software. Okay, so let's get into it. So what is remote data access? So remote data access was formerly known as Sage Drive, and it's a feature that allows you to share your data securely via the cloud. So giving you and your other users freedom to work anywhere with an internet connection and the Sage 50 Accounts software installed on the computer. This is also known as, you might hear it if you need to contact technical support, they might refer to it as RDA. It's available on version 27 and above. All variants have access, and it is included in your subscription. One really important note that I can't stress enough, that I really want to make clear: remote data access does not permanently store your data, and you must still take regular backups. Now, we do have a backup session tomorrow. If you do want to get registered for that, I will show you how towards the end of today's session. So what are the remote data access requirements? So as I've mentioned, version 27 and above. Software is to be installed locally on each machine. All users must be on the same version. So you can find that by going to help along the top in your software and into about. And it's under program details, I believe. License information. So you might need to provide this to, if you've got new users who are new installs. Can see questions just come through there as well whilst we're on the topic of license information. So is there a limit on how many computers you can have Sage on? So there's no limit on how many computers you can have Sage installed on, but it's down to your license agreement. So how many users do you pay for? So how many users have you agreed to have? You can also upgrade your licenses as well. So if you want to have more users to be able to use the software, then you can contact our support team for that. All computers must meet the minimum of the system requirements. And also as well, you need a minimum internet speeds of 4 Mbps download and 2 Mbps upload. But for the best results, we do recommend that you use a wired connection where possible. And lastly, as I've mentioned just before, you also need a Sage account. But you can create that, and I will show you in the demonstration how to do that as well. If you are wanting to look at what those requirements are, if you have the handout downloaded, in the top right, you can click on those two green buttons. You've got RDA requirements, which is also going to include your system requirements. And also as well, if you want to do a speed test, I've also included that for you as well. Okay, so things to consider before setting up remote data access. So you want to check the volume of your data, and you can do this by going to Help and About, and then into Data Information. You want to check the size of your data. So you can do this by going to Help and About, and like I say, under Data Information, you want to check the number of splits that you have. Splits are the number of transactions you have in the Transactions module. We recommend having fewer than 250,000 splits, but you also want to be checking the number of invoices, orders, and other records as well. There is a link to an article which gives you recommended amount, and that's the data limits on the right-hand side there if you do have the handout downloaded. Now, this isn't necessarily related to and specifically to remote data access, but it is a general rule of thumb to keep your data running smoothly and efficiently, even when you're not using remote data access. Again, you want to make sure that you're checking those internet speeds at each individual site. So you are only as strong as your weakest connection. So you need to make sure that each site has got meets at least the minimum of the internet speed requirements. And lastly, majority of your data will sync, but there are a few things that don't, such as archives, memo attachments, and your standard layouts, as everyone will have a copy of those standard layouts and reports. However, if you have renamed a customized layout or report that is the same as the standard, such as the goods delivery note, then it will not sync and you will have to share that manually. But if it's a customized report or layout and it's got its own file name different to the standard layouts and reports, then that will sync. If you do require more information about what we've just discussed, again, which files sync, I've also included that article as well, so you can delve more into that in your own time. Good questions just come through there from Chris. So is the recommended data size per company or for all companies connected to remote data access? So that would be per company. So it's not a combined, it's per company. You want to have around 250,000 splits. Now it's not mandatory and it is optional, it's just what we recommend. Okay, so let's have a look at the manual data sharing. So what you might be doing now prior to using remote data access. So you may have to share your data with your accountant, and it may look a little bit something like this. So we've got Joe, who would process invoices in Sage. He would then take a backup and share this with his accountant, Sarah. Sarah then would restore the backup into her own software, process the relevant adjustments. Now, whilst all of this is going on and Sarah's doing the adjustments, Joe would not be able to process in the software, as when he gets that backup from Sarah, it will just overwrite his current data. Using remote data access allows you to work concurrently without that back and forth of one processing than the other. So let's take a look at the first scenario. So it's exactly what we've just looked at. So it's the manual data sharing. So Joe's in the office. His accountant Sarah is external. She's in her own office in a different location. And using remote data access, Joe can continue processing those invoices whilst his accountant Sarah is adding in those adjustments. When you have a one user license, as long as you set up your accountant with the right user type, so you can set up your accountant as an accountant or bookkeeper, this does not count towards your users logged in. And that's when you have a one user license. Obviously, like I say, it applies when you have multiple user licenses as well, but just want to make that clear as well. Now, I know this question's already come up if you've got access to multiple companies on multiple PCs. So I want to talk about this scenario now. So let's just say Joe has a one user license. He's a computer in the office and he has a computer or a laptop at home because he sometimes works from home as well. Instead of taking the backup in the office and then wherever that might be on a SharePoint on a USB stick, and then he's getting home and he's restoring it on the computer at home, you can have Sage also installed on a second machine And then using remote data access, all he has to do is then log into his data, and everything he's processed in the office will then synchronize to his computer at home, again, as long as he's got an internet connection. Okay, so let's look at the scenario 3. So you might have a scenario where one person's in the office, one person's at home, and another person is in a different location. So again, we've got Sarah the accountant in her office. So each person in this situation is classed as a remote site, but big processes such as year-end or clear audit trail can be done at any location, but only as long as you are on version 28 and above. If you are on version 27, it is still main and remote, and those big processes can only be done at the main site where the data was uploaded from. But with 28 and above, every site is equal, so you can do any big processes from, so Joe could do year end, Stephen could do clear audit trail, and so on and so forth. If you are currently only have a one user license, but you would like more people to work concurrently, then you can contact our support team, and that they can get your user license upgraded. That means that you can have more people logged in at one time. So that scenario I want to talk about, and it's a little bit more complex. So it's when you have a server involved. So now you have Joe and Marie in the office, but they're connected by a server. So although they have two separate users and they're using their own machines, but they're working from the same data location because they're connected via a server. And you can still set remote data access up from this location, but they would just class as one site. If you do have a server set up, then we would recommend to set up remote data access from that location first. You would then only apply remote data access to Joe and Marie's user records when you're setting them up if they have another machine at a different location that needs to connect remotely. So say, using the same example as before, so Joe works in the office, he's connected by a server, but he also goes off site, so he's got a laptop. So you can have it also set up on there as well. But then you say you would need to set that up on his user record. But if he doesn't go off site and he only works in the office and nowhere else, then you wouldn't need to apply that to his specific user record. And this is going to make a little bit more sense when I come to the demonstration. Okay, so let's get straight into that demonstration. So we're going to go through a process of setting up remote data access, adding remote access to the user record, and then also how to connect remotely. Okay, so first we're going to set up remote data access from Joe's location. So we're going to be uploading the data. So we're going to set up remote data access and upload that data. And we're going to have a look at a little short video demonstration of what that looks like. Whilst the videos are playing, you can still ask those questions. I can see with plenty of questions coming through. So you can still ask those whilst the videos are playing. I'll come back to you shortly.
Once you've checked the system requirements and internet speeds of all required machines, you can set up remote data access. Log in as manager and check your software version by going to Help, then About. The version number is listed in the Program Details area, and all users must have the same version installed. Next, you should take a backup. To do this, open the File menu and click Backup. Select the files that you want to back up, amend the file name and choose the location by clicking Browse. To continue, click OK. A check data prompt will appear. We recommend that you do this every time. If any errors are reported, these must be fixed before you continue. To continue with the remote data access setup, you must link a Sage account to the company. To do this, navigate to Settings, User Management, and click Users. Manager will be highlighted by default, then click Edit. If remote data access has been set up in the past, Allow Remote Data Access checkbox will be available to select. If not, click Get Started Now with your Sage account. To find out more, click here. To continue with the setup, click Continue. Enter the name of the person who is going to be the data owner, preferably someone in a permanent position within the company. Additional information is available here. Once completed, click to confirm you are the right person. Next, check your company details. All mandatory information is marked with an asterisk. To continue, click here. Next, log into your Sage account. If you already have a Sage login, enter the details here and click Login. If you don't have one, create a new account using the link provided. Enter the email address you want to be assigned to the manager user, the name of the person you have assigned the data owner, and a password. Once you are happy with the information entered, click Sign Up. You'll receive a 6-digit code to your email. You can enter this here. Your Sage account is now connected. To close this message, click here. The Remote Data Access checkbox is now available to select. To complete the setup, select Allow the Remote Data Access checkbox and click Continue. You're then prompted to create an encryption passphrase. This is an extra layer of security, and all remote users will need this information when attempting to connect to your data. The passphrase must include a capital letter, a lowercase letter, and must be a minimum of 15 characters. To view the passcode at any time, follow the steps provided here. To complete the process and upload your data to the cloud, click Save. How long this will take will depend on the size of your data and internet speed. Once complete, Remote Data Access appears on your status bar.
Okay, so now we've linked that Sage account to the company and uploaded the data. Now remote data access is set up. Any changes that Joe makes from his Sage software will also sync to the cloud, and any changes made by other users once they're set up will then reflect on Joe's machine. Next, we're going to demonstrate how to give access to Louise's record. So this is a user that we've got set up already, and we're going to add that remote data access to her record. So let's take a look at the next demonstration.
In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to add remote data access users. To get started, log in as manager. From the Settings menu, choose User Management, then click Users. You can add remote data access to an existing user, or if the user does not appear on your list, you can set up a new one. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll edit an existing user. Highlight the relevant one on the list and click Edit. Navigate to Remote Data Access and select the checkbox to allow remote data access. Enter the required details for your user. Please note, a unique email address must be entered for each user. To move on to the next step, click Continue. When the summary page appears, check the information is correct, then click Save. An email is automatically sent to the email address entered. This contains a step-by-step guide on how to connect your Sage 50 accounts data remotely. You must provide all remote data access users with the passphrase that you created when you set up remote data access. For security purposes, you must send this separately.
Okay, so you can see how quick and easy it was there to add remote data access to Louise's record. Now, as Louise, we want to download that company to her machine. Let's take a look at the last demonstration.
We'll now demonstrate how to connect to Sage 50 accounts using remote data access. Before attempting to connect to your data remotely, ensure you have the relevant information to hand. You'll need your user logon name and password, the email address that has been applied to your user record, and the encryption passphrase. To connect remotely, open Sage 50 accounts and then click Add Company. Next, you'll see 4 setup options. Click Download. If you wish to change the location your data is saved to, click Change and follow the on-screen steps. To move on to the next step, click Continue. You are then presented with a set of instructions explaining the next steps. Click OK and log into your Sage account. If you don't have one, simply click to create an account and follow the prompts. Once logged in, you'll see the companies associated with your Sage account with more information about each one, such as the version of the data, who the data owner is, and if required, use the icon to view the company ID, which you can cross-reference with other users to check that it is the right version to download. Select the company you'd like to connect to, then click Next. Enter the encryption passphrase and click Continue. Finally, click Download. A progress bar appears while a copy of your Sage account's data downloads to your computer. Once complete, you'll be prompted to log in to Sage accounts using your logon name and password. Once you are logged in, your remote data access status is confirmed in the status bar along the bottom. Sage 50 accounts is now connected using remote data access, and you can now start the process as usual.
Okay, so once that company is downloaded, Louise can log in and start a process and make any changes straight away. And it will then sync those changes back up to the cloud and reflect on Joe's machine in real time. So that is remote data access setup process broken down into 3 easy steps. Upload, add access, and then connect remotely. If you wish to rewatch these videos that we've shown today, you will receive a link to the recording for this session in your follow-up email. Okay, so you can see we've got plenty of questions coming through. Do keep them coming throughout the session. If you're not sure how to ask a question, you can just click on the questions panel using the speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. You can pop your questions across for me, Michael, or Jackie to pick up for you. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through some frequently asked questions from previous session that might actually help you a little bit. So The first question I'm going to cover is, will the data be stored in the cloud? Now, I have mentioned this a couple of times throughout the session, and I just want to make it really clear. So it only temporarily stores your data in the cloud, so it can sync between different locations. So you must remember to still take regular backups of your data. Another question that we've had before, so can I use this on a tablet? So no, you must have a copy of the Sage 50 Accounts software installed on a compatible machine. Is there limitations on how many people can be connected? So no, but take into consideration different internet speeds and different locations and the size of your data as well. Good questions just come through there from Chris. What happens if Louise makes changes but Joe's computer is not on? If you're on version 27, Joe's machine would need to be on. But the beauty of upgrading to being on version 28 or above, Joe's machine wouldn't need to be on, and any changes that Louise makes, she could still make. And when Joe turned his computer on, he would just log in and it would synchronize those changes. Another question come from Lorna there. How often would you advise to take a backup? So that really depends on how much you process. So are you processing every day? Are you processing a lot? Then we would recommend to process every day. You want to be making sure that you know, in disaster situations, if a computer breaks or anything like that, you know, you want to make sure that you have plenty backups to go back to and to reduce that re-entry as much as possible. Can see a questions coming there from Colin as well. Will there be an instruction leaflet available to pass on to an external IT company who run the server that Sage is stored on? So there's plenty of resources on our help centre. If we pop to the summary page as I summarise the session, I'll cover this now. So Sage Remote Data Access enables you to access your data from any location, given it's got an internet connection and the software is installed on each PC. And that could be a computer, that can also be a laptop, and it does have to be installed on a Windows operating system as well. All variants have access, so it doesn't matter whether you're on Essentials, Standard or Professional, everyone has access. It's also included in your subscription, so it's no extra charge to use. Each user must have a unique email address assigned when you are setting up remote data access and applying it to user records. And also ensure that you are taking regular backups as well. Now, just to go back to, let's just check who asked that question. It was Colin's question there. So is there available information to pass on to IT? If you've got the handout downloaded there, Colin, as well, you can click on the Remote Data Access Hub, and that's got all the information you need, how to set up, what it is, how it works. It's a really great resource to use, and you will find that they will be able to use that information as well. So you can share that link with them. If you are wanting to get registered for the backing up your data session that we've got on tomorrow, if you've got the handout downloaded, you can also click on that. And I believe it should be potentially in your follow-up email as well. Now, just while I wait for any further questions to come through, I just want to launch another poll. And I just want to know, now you've attended the session, are you more likely to use remote data access? So is it yes, no, are you still unsure? If you are still unsure, let us know why in the chat. Pop it in. We might be able to point you in the right direction or give you some reassurance as well. So we usually wait until we get around, again, 70, 75%. So I can see those answers are coming in nice and quickly, which is fantastic. And then what I'll do as well is I'll also share those results with you as well. So we'll just wait to nearly done. Lovely. Okay, so we've got about 70%, so I'm just going to close that poll and I'm just going to share those results with you as well. So fantastic, 76% of you are now going to more likely to use remote data access, which is fantastic. Some of you have said no, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't suit every business, and it could be dependent on, it could be that you're in a rural area and you know that your internet connection isn't great. That's absolutely fine. If you're still unsure, again, pop it in the chat, let us know. We might be able to point you in that right direction, or again, give you some more advice. Okay, so I'm just going to close that poll down. And just while waiting for the questions to keep coming in, I can see they're still coming in quite a lot there. So we're just going to go through some upcoming sessions. So again, as I mentioned, we've got backing up your data, that's tomorrow, and we've also got a session next Wednesday as well if you're not you're unable to attend tomorrow. We are also doing this session again next week, so if you've got any colleagues who you've got to tell them about it, they're not quite convinced, they can also join the session next Thursday the 14th as well. So then we'll be doing exactly the same session, and if they've got any questions, you can also ask questions on there. Other sessions we've got coming up, so bank feeds part 2, so that's where we talk about how to manage and set up your rules when you're using bank feeds to automatically post transactions. We've got email invoices part 2 coming up as well as year end, and also emailing statements part 1 and part 2. If you have the handout downloaded, that webinar registration link is clickable. So that will take you straight to the registration page if you want to have a look what we've got coming up. I also want to touch upon the VAT proficiency webinars that we've got coming up for between the 18th and the 29th of March. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about this. So we have a badging event coming up, and it's a bit like what we did in November. So we did a accounting week where you could earn a badge for attending 4 or more sessions to earn that digital badge. So I've got a short video to show you, and it's going to go into more detail about what's to come.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael and I'm here to tell you about our upcoming series of VAT proficiency webinars. We'll be covering 7 different topics over the course of a 2-week period, and there are 2 dates available for each one. Hopefully this gives you the opportunity to attend as many as possible of the different sessions available. Session 1 focuses on tax codes. Do you understand the difference between T0, T2 and T9? It's a common support query. If not, come along and we'll get you up to speed. Session 2 looks at preparing and running through the VAT return wizard up to the reconciliation stage. Session 3 follows on very closely from this as we run through the tasks in step 3 of the VAT return wizard. These include posting VAT transfer journals, entering your payment or receipt, and of course the process of submitting your return online to HMRC. In Session 4 we'll highlight some of the most common queries that we regularly support our customers with. And in Session 5, we'll dive into the VAT verification checks that form part of the VAT return wizard. At times it can be a bit unnerving when the results are displayed, but don't worry, we'll explain each of the checks in detail and what you need to do about everything that's found. Session 6 explores the process of checking your VAT return using the key reports that are available in Sage 50 accounts. Our final session looks at corrections, and if you need to post one, what the impact is. As you can see, there's a wide range of topics available.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and just to let you know that these sessions will run over a 2-week period between the 18th and 29th of March. As usual, they're free to attend. All you have to do is visit our registration page and choose the sessions you'd like to attend. If you attend 4 or more live sessions, they must be different topics. Then you'll automatically earn your VAT Proficiency Digital Badge. Get yourself registered and we hope to see you there.
Okay, so just while we have got more questions coming through, so I'm going to show you one more short video just so I can assist in answering these questions. And it's just about the Sage network.
Sage Network. It brings business together, connecting the world's accounting systems and automating any business workflow, even if they don't use Sage accounting software. And now we're making the process even easier with Customer Account Portal. It gives customers real-time, self-service access to invoices and payment status, simplifying your accounts receivable workflows so your customers can easily see what's paid, due and overdue. And you can worry less about late payments or invoice admin. So how does it work? Setting up is seamless. Simply personalize it to your business. Then invite your customers to use it with a secure passwordless link. Customers can then access their invoices and payment status 24/7 in one secure place and know what needs to be paid for and when. You can also send batch messages to multiple customers at once, so you can get complete visibility of their account status and metrics and see who's accessed and downloaded invoices. Plus, you can save time using email templates to send monthly statements, overdue balance reminders, and even follow up with specific customers. The Customer Account Portal provides one secure place for your customers to access their invoices 24/7, so they always know what needs to be paid and when it's due, helping you get paid faster and saving you time. That way you can focus on adding value to your business. And this is just the start. We're going to be adding even more to the Sage network to simplify your workflows, like new apps and AI features. With the future of connected accounting, save time, increase visibility, and get paid faster. Sage, helping business flow.
Okay, so we've got a couple of questions come through, and I just want to kind of cover the old basis. So, how do I find the steps to set up remote data access? How do I install on new machines? So if you visit sage.co.uk/help, it's going to take you to your help center. Make sure you choose the Sage 50 Accounts product. And you're going to come to this page here. So this is the help center for Sage 50 Accounts. You've got the install hub. So that's going to show you exactly how to install your software on multiple machines. And you've got this hub here, and this was on the handout, as I mentioned before, but you can click Run Your Accounts Remotely. Tells you what remote data access is, working from home, step 1, step 2, step 3, which is all the steps that I covered today. So even if you don't want to go down this route, you are going to receive a link to the recording in your follow-up email, and it's going to include the videos that you watched today. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session, and perfectly timed. We've got a minute to go. So do keep your questions coming in. I'll give another minute or so if you do have any questions that you still want to ask. But if you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let us know any feedback regarding today's session and how we've done today. Any comments are greatly appreciated. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put myself on a brief mute just to see if there's any questions outstanding. Just a quick questions come in there from Arthur. So what happens if the connection hasn't been used in 6 months? So if it's still set up on one of the machines, it may just get you to re-authenticate, and that's when you would log in with that Sage account, so that email address and password combination. Okay, so majority of the questions seem to have been answered. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this session up. I want to say thank you to Michael and Jackie, who's been on hand today to answer your questions. But I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. Just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.